So let's just practice riffing a little bit. So, yeah, what are we here for? We're here to make money. We're here to learn how to be consistently profitable while we are trading the markets. Any and all freaking markets. Tell me what you like and we'll talk about that. So, anyways, my favorite stuff is futures and commodities. That's what I dig. They seem to trend well, whether it's higher or lower. There's quite a few that you can pick out. There's ETFs if you don't have a futures account that you can trade. You can trade options on them generally, depending on what it is, to add leverage in if you need to, and they tend to be persistent in their trends. So, but yeah, anyways, let's talk about the top 3 things. So, what is the top 3 things that we need to be successful? So we preach about mindset and developing skill and having a strategy to put all those pieces together, right? So mindset probably being the most important. Gosh, I'm finding mindset is most important in pretty much everything, every aspect of your life. If your mindset is not right, everything follows that, right? So let's camp there for a minute, right? First is believing that it's possible. I think a lot of times we just don't even believe in ourselves. And I think that I didn't believe in myself for a long time. You have this idea where you're like, man, I know that I can do this. I want to do this. I like this grandiose picture idea that, I'm gonna be trading on a beach somewhere on a yacht, sipping pina coladas. It's like the idea, right? It's like man sitting on a beach in a beach chair with a Corona, just like the commercial, laptop open, chugging away, making money, right? That was never my experience. But I learned that that's not really what I would have wanted to do anyways. So I don't know. But anyways, most of the time we get ourselves ramped up with the fact that we think that we're going to make a ton of money early on. It doesn't happen. We struggle. We continue to struggle. And a lot of times it can just go downhill. There's so many different aspects and psychologically damaging things that we can do early on that honestly cause us to just fall apart and self-sabotage. So that it's like you have actually less than, it's like you figure it's like, okay, you walk into, or don't walk into, but you open a chart and you click buy, right? You have a 50% chance that it's going up, 50% chance that it's going down. If you have negative and self-defeating beliefs and psychologically kind of like triggers in your mind that are floating around that cause you to self-sabotage, like that percentage is less than half, right? Because even the guy that doesn't know anything, as it starts to go up, they're just going to leave it because they're greedy. They're like, man, I'm making money. But for us, we're like, gosh, this is my first winning trade in 10 times. So, it's going up a little bit. I'm going to take some profit. Which is the worst, could be the worst thing you could do for that trade, right? But because of the way our mind has been rewired by not learning how to do things correctly early on, we actually hurt ourselves worse than we should have in the first place. So mindset is critical. It's pretty much the most important thing, right? I mean, I honestly don't know how you'd be profitable without it. I mean, you need to have a strategy and you need to know how the markets work and be able to read charts and all that. But if your mindset's screwed, you're screwed from the start. So anyway, so we got to work on reversing that, work on understanding the key concepts and either reversing damage or understanding things well enough to avoid those things that cause that in the first place, right? So, and then second would be skill, right? Developing skill involves, in my opinion, learning how to read charts, learning how to read price action, just understanding the basics of how price moves and why it moves, the underlying fundamental reasons, between the psychology of the markets, between greed and fear, and then, price patterns that happen and that develop over time because of that. And then So once we got that figured out and we understand how it moves and why it moves, and we see the patterns that are created in it, and we understand price action, and we spend some time diving into, the underlying, kind of things that are not surface level in charts, like our market profile and how value is developing and is moving. Then we got to have a way to capture that price action and actually make a profit, right? And more importantly, but I mean, honestly, risk management is really number one, right? Because if you lose your money, if you lose all your money, half your money, whatever else, like, your chances of getting it all back and creating profit on top of that are very low or non-existent, right? So that's where our focus goes once we hit those certain milestones, right? So mindset's good. Okay, check. Developing the skills, right? That happens over time. That's a process. It's a lifelong This is all a lifelong process, right? But we can accelerate the time it gets us from A to B to C, and at least become competent and understand what we need to do to become profitable, what it's going to take, sacrifices that'll have to be made, and then ultimately how to build that successful strategy from that. And then it becomes fine-tuning, right? Once we process it, can see the opportunity, and then create the strategy to pull money out of the market, then it becomes a process of fine-tuning, right? Collecting data over the long time, collecting data from our trades, being consistent in our execution, and making little tweaks over time while continuing to develop and focus on our mindset, to a point where all we do is we're just accepting new information. We have no bias. We have no expectations. This is a trade we put on. This meets our parameters. And now we're going to manage the trade no matter what happens. Don't feel good about it whether it goes up. Don't feel bad about it if it goes down. We know exactly where we're going to exit. We know where we would like it to go, and where we would take some money off the table if it goes up. And we're willing to cut our losses and get out, or take our profit and close the trade and move on to the next scenario or setup, So getting through those, obviously those three things, those are the most critical. That's how I build, that's my framework for putting everything together and explaining it and teaching it. I think it's a good kind of precursor to what accelerated trading education is all about. And I'm excited to go deeper and to serve you and others. And, I don't know it all. I'm continuing to grow as well, but I know that I have, through my own experience of, 10 plus years doing this, I've got a lot to offer and to be able to share. And I'm excited to do that and help others where I wish that I would have gotten help along, or been willing or open to help that was maybe available, but I didn't see it. I bought into programs and stuff that were essentially scams, and gurus that were essentially false prophets, or what they had to offer was not really anything that could be executed consistently. It's very easy to manipulate the data. It's easy to manipulate the way that charts look and things that happen. And so I'm excited to share what I believe is real, true, worthwhile knowledge to help you accelerate the learning curve and to get you where you want to be way faster than you would on your own. Yeah, so thanks.